on the beautiful campus that overlooks the lake in Lausanne. It's a pleasure to welcome the new Dean of the MBA program, Dr. Omar Toulan. Omar, thank you very much for joining us at the festival. IMD, fascinating school at its executive education level, but of course this wonderful intensive program that you're now the head of. Perhaps can we start with a little context? IMD itself, its mission, values, and even how its location helps to shape the sort of MBA experience that you offer.
Great, thank you very much, Matt, both for inviting me to this session and for leading the Center Court activities. It's, IMD is, as you mentioned, is quite a unique institution. It is an institution which was developed by business as an academic institution. Going back now, we just celebrated our 75th anniversary back in November from the original founding of the Institute. And IMD is a place which really focuses specifically on developing leaders, right? And our mission is to help develop leaders who not only transform organizations, but also have a positive impact on society. And that is really embedded, I think, in the MBA program, which this year we're also celebrating our 50th anniversary as an MBA program. And as you mentioned, we are located in Lausanne on Lake Geneva here in Switzerland. And to some extent, I think this gives us a very obviously international perspective. We're a class of 105, which is our largest ever actually. So as you can tell, we are a rather boutique program. And we have roughly 40 nationalities in that 105 students. And I'm happy to say that not only is it one of our most diverse from a nationality point of view, but I think it is our most diverse from a regional point of view. This year, we have our largest representation ever from Africa, around 10% of the class. We also have our largest percentage of women ever in the class. It's around 35%. We still want to continue to grow that, but we're going in the right direction. And so overall, like you say, we are a one-year program, so it is extremely intense, effectively actually 11 months. We start the first week of January, we end the first week of December. But it is really an experience which I think none of our students will forget and will really take it for their entire lives.
Right. We talked about that personal journey, and I guess the intensity of those 11 months. In terms of the curriculum, there's the core courses, but also many opportunities to really personalize your learning. How does the curriculum sort of break down through the year?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say, and when people ask me what is unique about the curriculum at IMD, I say there are three things. One is the leadership focus, right? Whenever we survey our students when they arrive, the leadership stream is always the first variable in terms of the decision-making process to come to IMD. The leadership stream, which we've been doing for 40 years in this program, is really entrenched. And the students this week are actually in what we call their leadership lab, where they are exposed to different challenges that a leader will face, and for them to be able to develop the skills to make those decisions in those situations. So leadership is number one. They will get a leadership coach, which they will have throughout the entire year. They will also have the opportunity for what we call the personal development elective, in which they have up to 20 sessions with a psychoanalyst to help really probe what is it that makes them tick, what is it that they actually want to achieve from their career, how does the MBA fit into that, and what might be the best type of context for them post-graduation. So really, like I say, introspective approach towards understanding your specific leadership capabilities. And as you say, it's very personalized. The majority of the courses are done together. I would say 10 of the 11 months are done in a group, with 1 month focusing on electives. But throughout that, like I say, because of the leadership journey, which is personalized, it's this great balance between group work and personalization at the individual level. So leadership for me is the first distinguishing characteristic and embodied in the curriculum. The second, I would say, as you mentioned, is personalized, right? We are a small program, and as a result, I will interview basically pretty much everybody who applies or who we bring to the assessment process. So everybody who arrives on campus, I would have seen already, as well as the whole admissions team. So it's a place where you leave not only, I'd say, with the family of your 105 colleagues, 104 colleagues, but really of the entire 20 people staff that we have in the program. And thirdly, I would say, is experiential. If you look at the courses and the curriculum of the program, roughly 40% of it I would classify as experiential in nature. And this doesn't include guest speakers. When I say experiential, I mean the discovery trips, which we will be doing 3 this year. The innovation lab, where they're focused on design thinking and applying it to a specific industry or let's say economic challenge. The digital week, the mountain sustainability experience, which I'm happy to talk more about. All of these together, combined with what we call the international consulting projects, where they spend 6 to 7 weeks working with a company trying to address a specific issue, which the company actually pays a fee for, which goes into our scholarship fund. And this year, we had 19 projects, and 15 of them were located outside of Switzerland. So despite COVID, we had teams in 15 remote locations for this period, everything from Peru, Mexico, Sudan, Dubai, Denmark, UK. So it really is, like I say, an international experience, as well as the last one I want to mention, which is the startup projects, where they will work for roughly 8 weeks with a startup to really understand what are the challenges that entrepreneurs face. So leadership, personalized and experiential, get embodied in the curriculum of the program.
Both our viewers at Centre Court and the readers of Poets and Quants, as they consider the right fit, the sort of MBA program that really resonates with the next steps that they're looking to take. You've already indicated perhaps a couple of very distinct aspects. Even in the admissions process, it's a very hands-on, the assessment days that you organize with Anna and the rest of the team. And then, I mean, it strikes me that small is beautiful. How does it work with that family of 105 students and the very committed staff to really provide that level of sort of accompaniment through the year?
Yeah. No, I think, like I say, it is something where the great thing about the admissions process we have, which we're able to do because we are targeting a relatively small class. I mean, this year we're 105. This next year we may be 20, but we will still be one of the smallest programs out there. But what this allows us to do is really be able to address everybody's personal needs and interests. I mean, to give you a little bit of an sort of background, we started our new cohort 4 weeks ago at the peak of the most recent COVID wave, right? But of course there were COVID cases in the beginning, we had to deal with that. But the level of personalization, we would send nurses to the students' houses to do PCR tests when they identified that they were positive. We would, follow up specifically on a one-to-one basis, not a mass general email, right? I mean, I was up sometimes at 11 o'clock at night receiving CT scores of people's PCR results to let them know whether or not they could come to campus that day. That's something which we couldn't do with 1,000 students, right? So it really gives us the ability to have a one-to-one personalization. And the team, I have to say, is amazing here for that. Both the admissions team, but also the program team, in terms of the dedication that they spend with the students and the participants.
Right. With the 1 year and the transformational experience and all of the opportunities you've talked about, consulting projects, the international trips, entrepreneurial projects, how do you help them to sort of choose among those very many different options, and that would factor into the post-MBA career goals that they're developing and want to pursue?
For sure. I think, there's several avenues in which we were able to help the students in that way. First is the leadership coaches, right? They will have the relationship with the leadership coach, not just, I would say, for the whole year of the program, but even beyond. I think one reflection of how important those coaches are is, it's become quite fashionable at the end of your MBA to put a post on LinkedIn saying, I would like, I've just graduated and I would like to thank the following people. And inevitably, one of the first people thanked by most of our students is their leadership coach. for helping them really think about not only the type of leadership style they have and where they would work best, but really what they want to achieve in life and also as a professional. So the leadership coaches play a very fundamental role. And then I would say the various career activities that we have planned starting from January all the way through the end of the year help give the students insights into different opportunities, as well as what might be the best fit for them. We also give them each career mentors, oftentimes alumni. So in addition to the leadership coach, they will also have a career mentor, plus the psychoanalyst, as we said before, with regards to the PDE elective. So the variety of ways that they will, let's say, we will try to help them on that journey, because it really is a journey, and in many cases, what people come in thinking they want to do is not what they leave thinking they want to do, or what they actually end up in. And I think it really is a process of self-discovery, which we try to help them on.
You're ensuring that they develop those technical hard skills that will be invaluable to them in the next steps of their career. But you yourself, have done research looking at surviving disruption through innovation, culture, agility. How are you then developing those soft skills that are perhaps, some of the areas that really stay with them and, embody the IMD experience?
No, I think, again, it's a great point that, yes, we will teach them all the fundamental hard skills, whether it's in finance or accounting or strategy, which I teach. But what's very fundamental as well, as you say, are the softer skills. And those come for me in many cases through the personalization aspects I just described with regards to the coaching, the mentoring, but also the level of experiential activities in the program. And these experiential activities are in most cases group-based, right? And this allows you to really, given the diversity of our class, have the opportunity to put yourself in a multicultural environment, even though you're in the center of Switzerland. Given the class size we have and the number of nationalities, there will never be two nationalities two people from the same country in the same group. So every group, if there are 5 participants, there will be 5 nationalities represented. And this really, I think, gives you that opportunity to sharpen and develop some of those skills of managing across cultures, managing people with different perspectives. And one last thing I want to mention, which I didn't before, is we've introduced something new this year called right versus right dilemmas. Because for me, the trait of a good leader is somebody who can make difficult decisions, right? And that for me is something that I want to make sure that our participants develop that skill. And so for me, a right versus right debate gets at those difficult decisions, which one can think of as take an issue which you in your own mind can argue both sides of the coin. Should one be honest or kind? Should emerging markets be held to the same environmental standards as advanced economies? Yes or no? You can, in most cases, come up with a good argumentation both ways. But you have to eventually make a decision which one you are going to take. And then secondly, you have to be able to convince other people. So we've introduced these series of right versus right dilemmas, as well as a specific session on communicating difficult decisions. Because if you can't convince other people of your choice, unfortunately, you won't have much of an impact. So, like I say, I think there's a variety of ways that we try to influence the students in this domain.
You sat down just yesterday, I think, with 2 or 3 students. Their sort of feedback or input parts of the MBA experience that have really stood out. Do they identify that mirror that you're holding up, and the right versus right dilemma? What are the sort of comments that they share with you?
Yeah, no, I think it was very pleasing to see that. When I did reach out, I reached out to a couple of students who graduated 3-4 years ago, class of 2018. And first of all, it was nice to see the consistency across them, that they were taking away a similar message, though obviously, even if it was somewhat different, like I say, for each person it is a personalized experience. But some of the common words which came up, were one, transformational. that this is an experience which will transform you, not only professionally, but also personally, in terms of your development as an individual. And I think this is very much in line with what we try to do with the PDE elective and the leadership stream. They also mentioned multidimensional leadership, right? Which gets at our goal of as a leader, you have to be able to assess issues from different angles, right? You know, we want to help develop what we call reflective and responsible leaders who can analyze issues from critically, let's say, from distinct perspectives, and then work collaboratively to have an impact. So it was nice that that resonated amongst the students as well. Family was mentioned by all of them, right? And I'll actually read you a quote from one, because I thought it was very nicely put. He said, "You will leave IMD being more self-aware and self-confident, feeling part of a big family who will represent a secure base in your professional and personal endeavors." And I really do think that is the case. You know, during the first year of COVID, back in 2020, you know, we were a little bit uncertain of what would happen with the job market at the end of the year. And so we reached out to our alumni base, which again, given the size of our program on the MBA side is probably in the, let's say, 10,000 to 15,000 range. And we had 500 people reply within the course of a couple of days saying, you know, I'm happy to help. Here's a job posting. I'm happy to help train somebody. I'm happy to help, you know, advise or put you people in touch with someone. And to have, you know, 500 people respond for a class size at that point of 90 students was wonderful to see. All right. So I think the loyalty and the feeling that you're, even once you graduate, you're still part of the IMD family really resonates with most of our graduates.
Yeah. That response rate keeps you up even later at night than looking at PCR tests.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You've talked about, you know, just through the pandemic and how you continue to evolve the curriculum, new courses that you're introducing. As you look at perhaps the next 3 to 5 years, how do you think the program itself will continue to evolve and reflect those needs and meeting the challenges of society?
No, I think, you know, it's something which we actually started earlier in 2021 when we started designing the program for this year, and something which we will continue to evolve over the next several years. You know, as I mentioned at the very beginning, you know, the mission of IMD is to help develop leaders who not only transform organizations, but have a positive impact on society. And the second part of that mission statement is one where I think, you know, our goal is to increase the representation even more in the program. And, you know, so as part of that, one of the areas which we've really heightened in this year's program and expect to continue to do so is the role of sustainability in the program. So what we did, first of all, was really to understand what is it that we're already covering with regards to sustainability in all the different core courses. We did a complete audit of the program. We then went and looked both internally as well as externally to try to understand, you know, if we think about 5 to 10 years from now, what are the key sustainability skills that all managers will need to have? Regardless of whether you're working in a sustainability function or not, even if you're a product manager, what do you have to know with regards to sustainability? We talked to employers, we looked at job descriptions, we surveyed professors, external experts to really understand what are the critical skills. And we brought it down to a list of 10 key skills. And with those 10 key skills, we then went back to the faculty to look where can we incorporate this within the core, right? Because again, I don't want sustainability to be viewed as simply, this is your sustainability course, everything else is agnostic. Right. So it's really to make sure it's embedded within the core. And we presented the framework to the students the first week of class so that they could really identify where is sustainability in the different components. We do have a course called Business and Society, which is sort of the anchor in the middle of the program, but I wanted to make sure that it's not the only place where they're being exposed to sustainability. We also, luckily as an institution, developed and formed a formal partnership with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development last year. And through their help, we've also designed a few new initiatives into the program. So in addition to the core course, as I mentioned earlier, we had a Alps weekend. So we took the entire class up to the Alps 2 weekends ago. Luckily, all COVID-free by then. And in partnership with the WBCSD, or the World Business Council, we held a 2-day seminar on sustainability, right? Where you could actually see the impacts. We went up to Villar, Switzerland, and you could see, I mean, the level of snow was not what it would normally be, what it should be. So you saw the impacts of sustainability or climate change in this specific issue face on. And the students were forced to, or let's say, or were given the opportunity, I should say, to do a future back exercise where they were, we put them in 2030, and they had to work backwards to understand how did we solve climate change from 2030. We also have a couple of days coming up on the science of sustainability, as well as a mock COP28 workshop, which we'll be doing in June. So for me, sustainability is something which we will continue to increase in the program, but in a way where it becomes part of the business fundamentals, not as a separate isolated course, right? And again, our goal is not to become the green MBA, but the MBA which teaches you what anybody would need to know with regards to sustainability.
Well, one final question, and rather than having you sitting in the waiting area at Geneva Airport, let's put you on a park bench next to the cycle paths at the lake. And you know, there you are sitting with a 28, 29-year-old successful in their career. And they've looked at IMD, you know, it's got this extraordinary ROI of the one-year program. You talk about that positive impact, you know, really making a difference, the transformational experience, this network. For you, as they try to think, well, but Omar, you know, it's a big investment. Is it the right step for me? What advice do you like to give to people as they're making that very proactive decision?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question, and you're right. It is a big investment. The rate of return, fortunately, is quite high at IMD. But you know, I always say an MBA is a personal choice, and it comes at different times for different people, right? You, I think, have to be ready. I always when I was teaching at my previous university where I had undergrads, I would always tell them, when you think about doing an MBA in the future, think about it as a trump card. It is something which can pivot your career, right? Which will allow you to either reorient or to adapt or change the direction of your professional endeavors. If I think about the students we have here, you know, the vast majority will pivot countries. They will change where they are working. They may pivot industries, and they will obviously pivot in many cases companies, right, and functions. And so you need to think about, you know, is the timing right for me, right? In the sense that because once you do the MBA, you can't do it again. So it is an inflection point in your career, which allows you to change your direction. So I tell people sometimes you don't want to do it too young, unless you're certain of where you want to pivot to. But you want to make sure that, you know, you're prepared, and hopefully IMD is a great fit for you. But like I say, for whoever it is, I think it's important to understand, am I ready for the program? And if I use this trump card now, is this the right time?
Well, I think you've given the viewers of Center Court some great insights and thoughts to reflect on, and how they use their trump card. Omar, thank you for joining us for the festival. It was a pleasure to host you, and wish you to stay safe and well.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's been a real pleasure, and stay safe yourself. Thank you very much.